everyone, welcome back to Cotto Verde. My name's Annette and today is the third in my series of dahlia videos this year where I give you a tour of the dahlias in the garden, showing you specific types of dahlias, and then I put them all in vases at the end and we can compare the sizes and the colours, and I think this is really helpful to give us a good idea about which dahlia we might prefer over another one. So today is the pom-pom and ball-shaped dahlias. I have got a further video coming where I'm going to show you all the decorative dahlias that I have in my collection, so watch out for that and do subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss it, and if you're enjoying this video or you enjoy it at the end, then please do give it a like because that really helps me and I would really appreciate it. So we're starting off at the bottom of the garden here, and this area I sort of planted to be sort of pinks and purples, specifically to go with this tree here, which is a Circis Carolina Sweetheart, and it's got the most beautiful pinky tinged leaves. It is new to us this year and I think it's just settling in because it really hasn't grown at all, and the leaves seem quite sparse at the moment, so I'm hoping it's going to do a bit more next year. At the front here I've got a dahlia, a tiny little ball dahlia called Rocco, but actually this isn't, I feel like I've been sent the wrong thing here again, because it really isn't a Rocco, and these particular blooms seem to blow out really quickly to have the yellow centres, whereas this one over here, this little ball dahlia, that is Rocco, because that is a really lovely deep purple, tiny little miniature balls. At the front here, this one is called Creme de Cassis, and this lovely fluffy thing over here is called Happet Champagne, and then in the background this one is Mingus Alex. Anyway, let me cut a Rocco. This is Rocco and it is the most gorgeous deep purple colour. In fact, it's showing up more sort of pinky on here, but it actually is lovely and deep, and it's a full ball dahlia, so it goes all the way around and creates this ball. I would say the size of this is about probably an inch, and it's grown to about, I'd say 1.2 meters. This here, this is just one dahlia tuber, so you can see how much it flowers. So there are a considerable number of little flowers here, and I think it goes really well with like the peachy tones, and it goes really beautifully with my Creme de Cassis down here. And the other dahlia in this area, which also goes really well with Rocco, is this one here called Pink Pattern Perk, and I spoke about that when I was covering the collarette and anemone style dahlias in my previous video, which you can find on my channel. In this area here, we have one of the most robust dahlias that I've had all season. So this one here is called Skilmersdale Jane, and it is actually classed as a decorative dahlia, but I feel it's more like a ball dahlia because the petals bend all the way backwards, and I'm not saying that it should be reclassified or anything, but I put it in this group because it's ball shaped to me. And anyway, this one has grown to about, oh, it's got to be at least 5 foot tall, and it has flowered constantly. So this is one tuber, all these flowers here. The other thing about Skilmersdale Jane is that for some reason, and I don't know why, the flowers seem to last a really long time. So some dahlias will flower and then they'll be over in like, I don't know, a few days or a week on the plant, but on the plant these flowers last for ages. Like, I hardly ever have to deadhead it, which is absolutely fantastic. So this little pink one here, the shorter pink coloured one, is called Offshore Dream, and the little one over here that the bee is sitting on, I covered in a previous video, the collarette dahlia, and it is called Teesbrook Audrey. And then I've got this lovely spread of Nicotiana in front, and then over here is Pam Howd, and that's the orangey peachy coloured dahlia, and in front of it is Westerton Sunset, which I'm going to talk about in a second, but I'm just going to cut one of these lovely Skilmersdale Jane, I don't know how you say that, dahlias. They've got this gorgeous purple centre to them. I really like this dahlia. So I mean that's why I think this is, you know, more of a ball shaped dahlia in my opinion. And that's why I'm covering it today, because I think it would be a shame not to cover this one today when it looks like a ball. And most of us growing dahlias don't really care which group it comes in. We're more interested in the colour and the shape of the dahlia. West Eastern Sunset, which is this purple one here, is it's just a really beautiful deep purple colour. I think it goes really well with the orange. And over here we've got Bright Eyes, which is kind of a really bright purple and orange. So I'm really happy with these three together. And I've got a cerise yarrow here, or achillea, whichever one you call it. Anyway, let me cut one of these West Eastern Sunset. This is quite a short dahlia. I think it's supposed to get taller than that, but the flowers are really lovely and large. But for me, this one's grown to about, I don't know, 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot maximum this year. So when West Eastern Sunset first blooms, it has these sort of green centres to the flower, and they're, you know, beautiful purple colour. They seem to vary in size a bit. This one's about 3 inches across, and then this one that has opened up completely and no longer has the green centre, this one's about 4 inches across. But as soon as it doesn't have the green centre anymore, the dahlia starts to go over. So if I was going to pick the dahlia, I'd pick it when it still had the green centre. So if you don't like the green centre, then you're kind of wasting your time with West Eastern Sunset, even though it's a gorgeous colour, because it goes over really quickly once the centre has opened up. So if you want it to look like this, the back of it is going to look kind of tired. Okay, so over in this area, we've got a couple of ball dahlias. This really tall one at the back is called Cornell Bronze, and that one is, I'd say, well, I mean, it's supposed to get to 1 metre, but it's definitely taller than 1 metre here in my garden. It's probably about 1.2, 1.3 metres. This one is Caitlin's Joy, and it's kind of a pinky peachy. It's got like peachy tones right inside the petals. I'll show you that in a minute. And then this one over here, that one's called Daisy Duke, and both Caitlin's Joy and Daisy Duke get to about 90 centimetres tall. So just over here I've got some more Great Silence, and then you might be able to see a tiny little speck of yellow and red at the back there, and that's called Rawhide. And these Cosmos at the front I absolutely love. They're new to me this year, and they're called Apricotta, and they just flower and flower and flower. So this is Cornell Bronze. It's a very popular dahlia, I think. A lot of people grow it, and it really is a lovely spherical shape with really pretty orange tones. So it's more of a bronzy orange, and I really love it. It goes with so many other things, and I think it looks lovely in the garden. It's a really nice warm colour without being too orange. So this is Caitlin's Joy, and I think it's quite easy to see on this particular flower, you know, the lovely purple centre, and then the yellow that's just hiding inside each of those petals. And again, it's a lovely, more of a flat spherical shape, this one actually, to be honest. That's about 2 inches, although I think some of my flowers have been nearer 3 inches wide. Here in this spot, in between, you know, Babylon Bronze and Happy Butterfly over here, and there's some more Cornell Bronze at the back here, and that is Great Silence, the really tall one. And down here, this is supposed to be Baleska. It's not, and I don't know what it's called, so we're ignoring that ball dahlia. But this one here is called La Corbière. And I think if I've got pictures of it when it had more flowers, I'll put them up on the screen, because this one has been blooming its socks off ever since. I mean, it's one of my first dahlias to bloom, so it's been going a while, but I've only got one flower left, and it's not in the best state because it's almost bloomed out, but I'll cut it to show you. So this one is supposed to grow to 1.2 metres tall, but mine hasn't. It's this lovely, really soft yellow with hints of purple in it, but this is what happens once it's nearly gone over. So the pollinators like it at this stage, but it's a little bit yellow in the middle there. The flower size is about 2.5 to 3 inches. Mine has probably only got to about 80 centimetres tall. I'm not sure why it hasn't grown to its full height, but it's a really lovely, soft, very pale, pastel-y yellow colour with hints of purple. I really like it, and I'm just sorry I haven't got a better flower to show you. So I had to come all the way around the back here to be able to show you this particular ball dahlia here called Hamari Rose, and it's much shorter than it should be, so that should grow to 1 metre tall. This is Happy Butterfly behind, and I've got some Rudbeckia here. I think that's Sahara. So I think it's easy to see why it's called Hamari Rose, because it really is, it's just a perfect rose colour actually, but it is like a dusty pastel pink. It's so pretty. I'll definitely be growing more of these. So I'm going to try and split my tuber, and I'm not sure why it's short. It's on the sunnier side of the flower bed here, but it is definitely supposed to get to 1 metre tall. So over in this bed here, I mean, it's kind of dominated by my Nicotiana lime green, but over in this corner is a lovely little ball dahlia, another one of the mini ones. This one is called Alwyn's Violet. This is a collarette dahlia that I covered in a previous video, and this one is called Mary Evelyn. This big purple ball is called Amy Cave. And as we swing along here, this gorgeous thing here, this is just one dahlia, and it's called Megandine. Now it would normally be taller than this, but I failed to stake it, and so it's kind of leaning over. It starts here and it's leaning over. This one at the back here is called Hillcrest Kismet. So Alwyn's Violet is very similar to Rocco. It's slightly shorter, I would say, in height, just as prolific. Pretty much the same size, and we'll compare the colours when I put them side by side in vases at the end of this video. So this is Megandine. Again, it's a really nice size, and as I said, this one just keeps flowering. It's so prolific. The flowers seem to last a really long time. I don't have to deadhead very often, and you know, it's really nice and spherical, a lovely ball shape, and it's just this really pale, I mean, lavendery violet colour. It's so pretty, quite a pure colour, not too much, you know, yellow or orange going on the inside of those petals. So just in the very centre here is Rosemary's Blush. This lovely blue thing here is Status. I really love it, and I just think it sets the colour of, you know, the dahlias around it really nicely. Such a pretty dahlia. It's not really yellow, it's more sort of apricot. I know it looks a bit yellow on the screen, but it's not. And it's just got this really ombre effect going into the middle, where it just gets more and more purple, sort of fading from apricot through to a lovely ripe peach, through to that lovely deep purple. This one's about 2 inches across the flower size. As I said, my plant at the moment is only about maybe 90 centimetres tall, 2.5 foot maybe at the most, 80 or 90 centimetres. So I've come around the other side of the bed on the end here. This is the Hillcrest Kismet. This is a mistake dahlia I got sent. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I'll put it up on the screen. This is the back of Megandine. This enormous thing here is called Sir Alf Ramsey. Absolutely lovely, stonking great big flowers. This at the front here is called Sandia Flirt, which is incredibly pretty, but I'll cover that in the decorative dahlias. And then this is the ball dahlia I want to talk about, which is Amy Cave. Now Amy Cave has grown to about 1.2 metres. It is a lovely deep purple colour, but the flowers go over quite quickly, and when they go over they kind of get this sort of whitey tinge to them, which is only attractive for about a day, and then they just start looking really tired and dead. So it's not my favourite dahlia, although I love the colour and the size. This one down at the bottom here is Melissa Anameriiki. I'm not sure how you say it. So I'm probably really mispronouncing that. Sorry to anybody who speaks another language. And if you think that I'm missing out another dahlia, this one here, this is supposed to be Baleska. It's definitely not. It was a mistake and I've been sent a refund. So I'm not going to cover that ball dahlia because I don't know what it's called. So this is Amy Cave. It's looking really red. It's not red at all. It's a really, really rich raspberry colour. So if I shade it, it's a better colour. It's not red at all in real life. In real life, it's just a lovely rich colour. Can you see what I mean by, as soon as it starts to mature and become round, the petals start to look a bit tired because they've got this sort of white tinge to them. And then, so this is the one I was just showing you. And then this is one that's going over. So it really hasn't gone over very much, but already it looks papery and tired and possibly not that pretty. So, you know, it's not papery and tired yet. It's just that it's got this white pattern to the petals that makes it look old and dried up. So, not my favourite. In this area, this really tall pink one here is a decorative dahlia called Sweet Love. And then at the front, this is Fancy Pants. But the one we're looking at is this one in here, which is called Wizard of Oz. And I absolutely love Wizard of Oz. Over here we've got Barley Blush. It's one Florinor. And then this is Edith Jones. And I've covered some of these in previous videos, so do take a look. I possibly made a little bit of a mistake by putting Wizard of Oz here. I mean, it goes really well with Sweet Love. In fact, it goes well with everything that's around here, but it's a little bit buried. So it only gets to about 80 or 90 centimetres, and I feel like it shouldn't be behind Fancy Pants, and possibly is too close to Sweet Love, which is very overpowering, and Wizard of Oz isn't quite as floriferous. You know, there aren't as many flowers, whereas Sweet Love, that's one dahlia and it's completely bonkers. So this is Wizard of Oz. It's really soft pink, ever so pretty. It's got hints of white in it, and it's about 2.5 inches across. And it's really, really pretty. It's perfect for, you know, weddings, or if you want some sort of soft pastel arrangement, or, you know, that colour in your garden. Wizard of Oz is gorgeous. So this taller dahlia here, this is Phyllis Farmer, and it's a lovely peachy colour with really bright centres. I love that. But this one down below, this one is called Palmares, and I've got it planted next to some amaranthus, this lovely tassely thing here. But Palmares is, you know, really, it's just a soft, again, apricot-y yellow colour with these lovely purple centres to it. Now this particular plant is suffering some slug damage, which is a bit annoying, but it's such a pretty flower, and I feel like it would go with, you know, most things. And it's kind of a flatter ball shape, but there's nothing wrong with that. I really like it. So I found Palmares quite short. It's growing to about maybe 80 centimetres, so 2 foot, something like that. It's 2.5 foot. It's not a particularly tall dahlia, but it is so pretty, and actually I think it's just a really perfect colour. I mean, look how nicely that goes with the tassels of the amaranthus. So in this area here, I've got some Wizard of Oz planted with some Rocco, and I think that's really pretty. That just looks gorgeous to me. I really love the colours. They just really complement each other, and, you know, being a similar height, I think that looks gorgeous. So over here, this tiny little pale pink miniature ball at the bottom, this one here, is called Willows Borealis. And then I've got some more Rosemary Dawn here. And then at the back here, this one is called Westerton Pearl. So I've cut Willows Borealis just so we can see the colour as a comparison, but I'm assuming you can see the slug damage because there's a slug trail on it. So it's not a great example, but I've cut it so I can put it in a vase and we can compare the colour. This is also a really small flower, so they're normally a little bit bigger than that, about 1 inch across. And then this is Westerton Pearl, a really pretty colour. I'd say this is peach and purple, and the flower's about 3 inches across, and it's grown to about 1 metre tall. And again, this is another one, when it's looking at its best, it's got this little green centre, and then almost as soon as the green centre disappears, the back petals start to fade. So in this little messy jumble here, I've got the pink ball at the back is called Eye Candy, and it's completely fallen over, so it should be about 1.5 metres tall, but I didn't stake it because I'd planted it in the middle of the bed and I thought it would be fine, but it's not fine. And then this dahlia at the front here, which looks quite similar to Rosemary's Blush, but it's not. This one's called Happet Compo, and it's more sort of yellowy with purple tinges. Like as the flowers get older, the purple is on the outside like that, but when it's young, the purple's on the inside. So this is Eye Candy, a very pink dahlia. If you're looking for pure pink, maybe with a hint of lavender, this is it. Flower size about, some of them must be at least 4 inches across. This one's probably more like 3 inches. So then this is a young Happet Compo with mostly the purple on the inside. Lovely ball, about 1.5 inches. And then This is an older one. You can see it's going over slightly and the purple moves to the outside of the flower. Okay, so over here we've got a toppled over Barley blush, but Barley blush is actually that tall. So that's Barley blush over here. Edith Jones. This is Karma Martin's One, and that dahlia I will cover in a future video because it's a decorative dahlia, but if you're looking for a white dahlia that flowers and flowers, that's it. But down here at the bottom, this little dahlia here is called Small World, and I think it's really useful for things like boutonnieres, if you're making, you know, things for weddings, or tiny little posies. But actually, even though it's a really pretty small white dahlia, I'm not especially fond of it because it's so short. The plant's just really short. So this is Small World. I'd say it's a maximum of 1 inch across. It's really pretty little white dahlia. I mean, it's good for the front of a border, but I just don't need a dahlia that's so short, so I probably won't grow this one anymore. This really tall dahlia here is Penhill Watermelon, and then down below it I've got Linda's Baby, which is such a pretty colour. I really love this. This has been quite late to flower for me this year. So Linda's Baby's only going to grow to about 80 centimetres tall. The flowers are about 2.5, 3 inches across, and they're a lovely sort of apricot-y pink colour with touches of pink, streaks of purple. It's got a lovely purple centre. Okay, so if you've watched my previous videos, you'll recognise this view, because in here at the front, this is Platinum Blonde, which I covered in my anemone video, and this purple one over here, that's called Richard's Fortune, and I bought it because my husband's called Richard. But this tiny little ball dahlia here, in sort of a very pale pinky purple colour, is called Gertler Twilight. So again, this is a really mini ball dahlia. I think the flowers are about 1 inch across, and it's grown to about 80 centimetres. And then the kind of more deeper coloured peachy one in the middle there is called Polverton Christabel, and again that's leaning over a little bit, so it probably grows to at least 1 metre tall, that one, and the flower size, as you can see, is much larger. So this is Gertler Twilight, really tiny, very pretty. I so much prefer this one to Small World just because it's got a little bit of colour and it grows taller, so I just find it a lot more useful. And then this is Polverton Christabel. You can see the sort of yellow base to the petals there, and it's just got this really lovely deep centre. It's a really lovely ball shape. It's quite spherical. The petals go all the way round. So I'm struggling with this bed a little bit with the slugs and snails, which is quite annoying. And so consequently, this little mini ball dahlia here, which is called Franz Kafka, is really struggling to flower and hasn't got to its full height potential. At the front here, this is Creme de Cassis, this one here. Got a little rose there, that's just in its first year, and this big decorative dahlia at the back here, that one's called Sasha. So let me pick one of the Franz Kafka, which is a lovely purple colour, mauve. I think it's mauve. So this is quite a small example, but it's the one that was the least slug eaten. It's really very pretty, but it's just a really lovely colour. You know, it starts off darker in the middle and then fades as you go around. You can see it's got paler undersides to the petals, which is quite cute. So this one here, in amongst all the panic and frosted explosion, and I've got some Setaria grass here. This one is called Barbary Pip, and it's such a beautiful colour. I really love it. I haven't deadheaded this one recently, so some of them look a bit ropey. This one grows to about 1 metre tall, and the flowers are about 2 or 3 inches. I'm going to try and find a nice one to show you. This is just a really sort of rich cherry colour, and it's quite a flat ball shape, but it's really pretty, and I think it looks lovely with like oranges and, you know, all the peach colours. I've planted it with a white dahlia just down here, which I'll show you in a second. So I've come down to the sunken area now, and that is Barbary Pip up there, and then this shorter white dahlia is called Rycroft Jan, And this one really is lovely and so much better than Small World. It's taller and it's larger. So Rycroft Jan will grow to about 1 metre tall, but I pick on this flower a lot. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches across. So here we've got some pink runner. Really lovely dahlia, grows to about 90 centimetres. Behind that, the darker purple one is called Ivanetti. This one here is Bacardi, but I'll cover that in a future video. So you can see that Ivanetti and pink runner are about the same height. And then further in the back over here, there's another pink runner and 2 more little ball dahlias, which I'll show you in a second. So let me pick a pink runner and an Ivanetti. So pink runner is so pretty. I've had pink runner in my garden for a while, and how do I describe the colour to you? It's pink, fades to paler pink, and it's just got hints of sort of a yellowy apricot-y colour in it, and obviously darker at the centre. So pink runner, I'd say that's maybe 3 inches across, something like that. This is a really small example of Ivanetti. They're normally a bit bigger than this. I'd say about the same size as pink runner, but this again is just a lovely purpley colour and a nice sort of small dahlia. That's a little bit of fascination going on there. The white petals not supposed to be in that. So this deep purple one here, this is Downham Royal, and this one will grow to about 90 centimetres tall, and it's slightly smaller than Ivanetti. So that's the difference with Ivanetti. So it's almost the same colour, but a slightly smaller flowering dahlia. Really cute. And then this little pink one here that I really don't have a good example of, because you can see I've got lots of buds, but this one has sort of past its prime. But this is called Hallmark. So again, it's a lovely sort of little mini pink dahlia, and it'll be easier to see, you know, if we compare these to others. This one's going a little bit brown, so it's really not at its best, but if you're looking for a small pink dahlia, Hallmark is kind of cool. Okay, I had a little water accident here, so ignore that, but these are all the dahlias that I picked. So I'm going to go through and name them so that we can compare them. They're not in size order at all. They're kind of in colour order. That's what I've tried to do. And they're not in the height of the plant order. They're not in flower size order. Nothing like that. Literally just in colour order. And I'm going to start over here with these ones. So right at the front, this one here is Small World, and behind that is Rycroft Jan, and then the white one at the back with the purple centre, that one is called Skelmersdale Jane, and next to it the tiny little pom-pom one, this one here is Gertler Twilight, and then the pinky one in the middle here, that one is Wizard of Oz, and then the one next to Wizard of Oz is called Hallmark, that little deeper pink tiny little one, and then right at the front is Eye Candy, and then the larger lilac-y one at the back is, that one is Megan Dean. That's the one that's done really well for me. It's super tall and the plant's fallen over a little bit, but that's my fault. This gorgeous coloured one at the front here is Hamari Rose. I think it's so pretty. And then right at the back here is Pink Runner. That's the one that's kind of hiding behind another one. And then this one in the middle that looks kind of peachy coloured, that one's called Westerton Pearl, and then this one here is called Pulverton Christabel. That's another super tall one for me. And then this one at the front here is called Linda's Baby. This one at the front here is Caitlin's Joy. So you can see that Pulverton Christabel, Western Pearl, Caitlin's Joy, all very much the same colour. So just choose depending on what height you want your plant to be or what your flower size you want it to be. And then at the back we've got Cornell Bronze, which is that lovely bronzy coloured one. And then the smaller yellowy one, that's Happet Compo, where I've got the two. This bad example at the front is La Corbière, and I promise you it's a beautiful dahlia. Looks really bright yellow there, but I mean I would normally just deadhead that, I wouldn't keep that. And then at the back here, that one is Rosemary Dawn, and then in front of that, a very similar colour, but a shorter dahlia with a larger flower is called Palmares. And then over here, moving on to the more purpley coloured ones, so that one is Franz Kafka, and the tiny slug-eaten one at the front is Willows Borealis. I promise you the flower is normally much more the size of the others. This one's just been a bit slug-eaten. So then at the back here we have Ivanetti, and in front of that is Rocco, and in front of that, this one at the front here, this is Orwin's Violet. So they're all very similar colours, just different sizes. I'd say Allwin's Violet is probably lighter, the lighter. So this one at the back where I've got 2 flowers, this is Westerton Sunset. So remember, Western Sunset's kind of got a green centre to it when it's looking good. And then in front of Westerton Sunset, this one here is Downham Royal. And then this one at the back here, where I've got another 2 flowers, because this one's kind of got the white edge to it, that's Amy Cave. And then the more reddy coloured one is Barbary Pip. And that is all of my ball and pom-pom dahlias. In all honesty, I have got 2 others that aren't in flower at the moment. One of them's Wine-Eyed Jill, and the other one, I can't remember, but I couldn't show you those because they're not in flower at the moment. I've just deadheaded them all. I hope you've enjoyed having a look at all the ball-shaped and pom-pom shaped dahlias that I've got in my collection growing in my garden this year. And if you have, then please do give this video a like because it really helps me. I'd really appreciate it. And if you don't want to miss the next video about the decorative dahlias, then do subscribe to my channel because that will be coming out soon, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I post it to YouTube. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.